A CNN analyst compares the Let's Go Brandon slogan to Long Live ISIS. A new NBC News poll reveals bad news for Joe Biden. Plus, the American Medical Association issues new guidelines in wokeness. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
Okay, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with CNN because their team of analysts and reporters continues to show America how not to do journalism. CNN has moved from reporting news to being a full-fledged arm of the Democrats. Anything bad that is happening to Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or any other Democrat is buried, glossed over, or simply ignored. Anything bad happening to the Republicans is magnified. Joe Biden's approval numbers keep sinking. His domestic agenda is in disarray, and the American people don't trust him to lead. However, CNN is more than happy to prop him up with another town hall event, even when the rest of the country knows that he's not up to the job. That's just their normal, everyday operations. But over the weekend, a CNN analyst took things to a new level by actually comparing the Let's Go Brandon slogan to ISIS. First, some background. For months now, fans at packed stadiums for college and pro games, as well as baseball games, have been chanting F Joe Biden. It's been loud and frequent, and it's been sweeping the country. I guess that's what happens when people can't afford basic goods and services because prices keep going up. And if they could afford them, there's no items on the shelves anyway. But I digress. The chant made its way to a NASCAR race on October 2nd. The winner of the race was Brandon Brown, and during the post-race interview, fans started chanting F Joe Biden. And from that, a slogan was born.
Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first two stages and just watch and learn. What did you learn that helped you there in those closing laps?
Oh my God, it was...
It's hard to believe that the Let's Go Brandon slogan is only a month old. But then again, the man who inspired it, Joe Biden, feels like he's been wrecking the country for 2 years or more when it's actually been only about 9 months. But in any case, the slogan has inspired t-shirts and billboards and a host of memes across the internet. Check out this video clip from a Chicago airport.
Everyone taking passenger Let's Go Brandon, please report to descend to Mr. Party. Passenger Let's Go Brandon, please report to descend to Mr. Party.
Let's go, Brandon.
So that brings us to this past weekend in a Southwest Airlines flight from Houston to Albuquerque, in which, according to an Associated Press reporter, the pilot signed off by saying, "Let's go, Brandon." Because the Associated Press wrote about it, Southwest Airlines issued a statement on the alleged incident. The Southwest team takes pride in providing a welcoming, comfortable, safe, and respectful environment for the millions of customers who fly with us each year, the company said in a statement. Southwest does not condone employees sharing their personal political opinions while on the job serving our customers, and one employee's individual perspective should not be interpreted as the viewpoint of Southwest and its collective 54,000 employees. And this is where CNN steps in. While Southwest Airlines is investigating the incident, CNN analyst Asha Rangappa, using her vast professionalism, thought it would be clever to compare the Let's Go Brandon slogan to support and praise for ISIS. Over the weekend, she tweeted this. As an experiment, I'd love for a Southwest Airlines pilot to say, "Long live ISIS," before taking off. My guess is that 1, the plane would be immediately grounded, 2, the pilot fired, and 3, a statement issued by the airline within a matter of hours. This is unreal. The comparison makes no sense, but what's even more stunning is that the left-wing radical garnered over 27,000 likes from other left-wing radicals. Senator Ted Cruz blasted the statement by tweeting this. CNN is deranged. And no, As a factual matter, supporting genocidal religious zealots is not the same as disagreeing with the current president. What a mess, and it just shows how far CNN has fallen. The network will do everything it can to cover for a failing Joe Biden, even by making a completely inappropriate comparison to ISIS. Fortunately, not many people watch CNN anymore, and this is a perfect example as to why they don't. All right, next let's talk about Joe Biden and his latest poll numbers. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Okay, let's talk about Joe Biden's latest poll numbers, and this set comes from NBC News. So you know it's going to be slanted toward the Democrats. Their polls always are. But even this NBC News poll spells bad news for Biden. Here's NBC's Chuck Todd talking about some of the results.
We have a brand new NBC News poll out this morning that's filled with some scary news for the Democrats. The overarching message: Americans have lost their confidence in President Biden and their optimism for the country. At least they have right now. Just 22% of adults say we're headed in the right direction. A shocking 71% say we're on the wrong track, and that includes a near majority of Democrats who are saying that. President Biden's approval rating stands at a dismal 42% versus 54% who disapprove. Believe it or not, just 2 months ago, Mr. Biden was in positive territory, 49% approving, 48% disapproving.
A couple of key takeaways outside of Chuck Todd's strange use of over-the-top adjectives. 71% of those surveyed feel the country is on the wrong track, and that includes a near majority of Democrats. That's a big deal, and it shows how off the rails the Biden administration is. The overall approval rating in this poll sits at 42%, down 7 points from just 2 months ago. This is similar to other polls that I've covered recently, with Quinnipiac showing 38% approval and Rasmussen showing 42%. Here's Chuck Todd diving a little deeper.
Just 37% say he has the ability right now to handle a crisis versus nearly a majority who say he does not. 37% also say he's competent and effective as president. 50% disagree with that description. What's more, Republicans, believe it or not, have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
These numbers are stunning. The American people don't think Biden can handle a crisis, and they don't think he's competent to lead. And why would they? Look at what's going on at our southern border. Look at what's going on in Afghanistan. Look at inflation, vaccine mandate, socialist policies, crime, and on and on and on. It's no wonder Republicans are leading on the major issues. Here's more.
Democrats hold generally smaller double-digit leads on dealing with climate change, the coronavirus, education, and abortion. And that's really it right now. It's not clear yet whether any deal struck by Democrats on the social spending and infrastructure bills will nudge Mr. Biden's numbers back into positive territory, or whether the damage to his reputation is more of a scar than a bruise. But this much is clear. About the only good news for Mr. Biden and the Democrats in this poll is that the midterm elections aren't for another year.
Here's what I find most significant about those issues that the Democrats supposedly lead on. Education was Democrats plus 10. That issue used to be rock solid for the Democrats, and the lead is coming down. The Democrats are starting to lose on education because the radical left has opened parents' eyes to what is going on. We see it in the race for Virginia governor. Probably the biggest issue driving voters in that state is education, and Republican Glenn Youngkin is the one who's benefiting, not Democrat Terry McAuliffe. So that's Joe Biden's poll numbers, and it doesn't paint a good picture at all of someone who can handle the job. All right, so next, the American Medical Association has released a new document, and no, it's not on some groundbreaking new medical technique. It's not on a new vaccine or treatment. Instead, it focuses on how doctors can get woke with their patients, how they can use words inspired by critical race theory and social justice when talking about healthcare. Here's the story. The American Medical Association released a document with guidance on how to support physicians' conversations with patients using equity-focused first-person language. The document cites that language commonly used ought to be replaced with words inspired by critical race theory, gender studies, disability studies, as well as scholarship from social medicine. Narratives that uncritically center meritocracy and individualism render invisible the very real constraints generated and reinforced by poverty, discrimination, and ultimately exclusion, the document reads. Wow, yet another organization that is buying into the left-wing narrative that merit is somehow bad, that individualism is somehow bad. I reported previously that one left-wing group described attributes such as merit and hard work as symbols of white supremacy. It seems like the AMA is jumping on that bandwagon. Here's more. While the 54-page document states that it intends to notice and question dominant narratives, it then goes on to offer a glossary of terms as to what a commonly used word, used by doctors, should be replaced with, such as the equity-focused alternative terms spanning the length of the document. Among a few suggestions for equity-focused communication include changing social problem to social injustice, vulnerable to oppressed, master and slave in the context of technology applications to active standby, writer reader, and leader follower, and Caucasian to white with a small w, and black to black with a capital B. I have an idea. How about the AMA just focus on medicine, not social justice, not BLM, not critical race theory, just medicine? Are companies and organizations capable of that anymore? Let me know in the comments. All right, so next we have the city of Philadelphia, which has just passed new legislation which is designed to promote what the left-wing supporters call driving equity. I don't know what that is. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it is. So, in order to combat racial disparities in traffic stops, the city is going to get rid of the practice altogether, at least for minor traffic stops. Here's the story. Philadelphia, marred by high crime rates, is set to no longer enforce minor traffic stops. The policy is designed to promote driving equity and engender more favorable police-community relations. Mayor Jim Kenney is anticipated to sign the legislation, which the Philadelphia City Council approved during the first week of November. Traffic stops are traumatic for drivers and scary for police officers, said Councilman Isaiah Thomas on Sunday. Lifting them makes everyone safer and communities stronger. Okay, so I want to put up the full tweet from this city council member, Isaiah Thomas. Check this out. Hashtag driving equality reinforces that public safety can be achieved with other methods than traffic stops. Traffic stops are traumatic for drivers and scary for police officers. Limiting them makes everyone safer and communities stronger. First of all, he didn't even get the talking point correct. The phrase is driving equity. The left has dropped equality from their vocabulary and replaced it with equity. Aside from that, this guy says that limiting the traumatic and scary traffic stops actually makes the community safer. But traffic stops are for unsafe practices. So, does not enforcing safety make the community safer? Also, he included a link to a New York Times story with the hyperbolic headline, "Why Many Police Traffic Stops Turn Deadly." And you wonder why people have lost trust in the media. Many traffic stops don't turn deadly. Hardly any do. Most routine traffic stops are routine. But the left has no argument based on data, so they spin up talking points based on fear, distrust, and false narratives. Here's more of the story. The policy is an attempt to assuage minor traffic stops that lead to more serious police interactions, including those that end in violence, particularly ones that harm people of color. These bills end the traffic stops that promote discrimination while keeping the traffic stops that promote public safety, the city council said in a statement. The legislation would decrease negative police interactions that widen the divide and perpetuate mistrust, the statement added. So that's what's going on in Philadelphia, and as we see more of these cities move to defund the police and restrict police interactions, we've seen the very predictable result of rising crime. We'll see what happens here. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next show is going to be Wednesday evening at the usual time. 6:30 p.m. Central. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.